Alright, I've had this Surface 3 for a little more than a week now, so I'm going to give it a bit of a once-over. It's going to be a learning discovery. It's got Windows 10 on it now, so it's still fairly new to me, even though I use it at work. I'm going to kind of bumble through it a bit. If you're anything like me, and you're a Mac user, and you've seen the Surface appear, and from day one you've been like, that's a bit of a curious device, but then you were massively put off by Windows 8. Or Windows, or Microsoft, or whatever. But you're a bit curious about it. This is a good just way of bumbling through. Again, it's more of a user perspective than a tech review, because, you know, you've got websites that do that. You've got The Verge. Incidentally, Verge means penis in French, and that's a fact. My girlfriend's French, so I mean, make of that what you will. I don't like intros. I don't like it. If your tech video has got an intro, no matter how much you like that intro, I'll skip it. I'll grab that red bar right past it. You're wasting your time. No one wants to know that. Anyway, the only thing I've had today is coffee, and so I'm probably going to be speaking fast. But I'm just going to cut to the camera now of the device itself and just walk you through a few bits. Try and answer some questions that no one else has answered, and see if we can do that. Try and make it a bit more useful if you're thinking of buying one of these extortionately expensive tablets. Let's get on with it. Oh, another thing as well. You won't hear the words insane and go ahead. Insanity? How is something good insane and go ahead? I'm going to go ahead and show you this. Just show it. So here we have the bugger. So this is the screen area here, okay? And that's the bit that you will be fondling with your fingers, or with this pen. So let me just sign in. Now you can sign in with a PIN or a password, which is quite nice, because a PIN's quicker to enter if you can actually see what you're doing. Don't look at that. I'm going to blur that out because you're obviously going to break in and see that. Anyway, ignore anything you see about Apple Watches, because I'm not looking at them at all. What I am looking at is a lot of Destiny wallpapers. This screen resolution is extremely high. Now what I'm trying to get to grips with is it better than having a laptop or not? Now, you've got the keyboard, which is attached to it underneath there, which is great, and it's got the kickstand at the back. I'm sure you know all this. In answer to a quick question, it's a pain in the arse to set it up like a laptop. It's really awkward. To have it on your knee, you've got to pull the stand out, and then you've got to click and it just wants to fall over and hit the floor and smash. Not a great thing, not a great idea to do that. If you are going to go on it, sit to a desk. And if you're anything like me, you only really use a laptop on a desk. Some people use them on the laps, they tend to get hot. You are going to struggle. On a train, on a plane, I wouldn't even contemplate doing it. It's just awkward, okay? If you're going to use it on your knee, on a plane, on a train, just use the tablet. Don't use the keyboard. Now, let me just show you. With Windows 10, when you disconnect the keyboard, which I've got the nice purple one, you've got the option so that it can be configured to go straight into tablet mode. Now, you're going to see this and you're going to be like, oh my god, it's Windows 8, it's hideous. It's very similar, but you've got your menu down the side, all your programs here, and you've got the tiles. But if you've been using it on a desktop, it is clunky. But when you're on this tablet, you can draw in from the side, and you can get your notifications. You can draw in from this side. Oh, get rid of that. Draw in from this side. Oh no, tap that button and get your menu. So it is actually finger friendly, and what you will find, because it's such a high resolution, you'll find that it's numb. Along the bottom here where the taskbar is, that's where all my programs are when I'm on desktop mode. Now there's an option that when you switch to tablet mode for those to hide. So let's just open up the Edge browser, okay? And it defaults to the new screen. Down here, and I'm not going to zoom in, but you've got a back button, you've got the Cortana voice assist thing, and you've got this little button here that lists all the programs that are open. So if you tap that, you'll see everything grouped together, like Expose. You can tap them and you can go straight into them. You can have the option for all the little icons to stay, just like when you're in Windows mode. But if I attach the keyboard back onto it now, and again, all this is configurable, this is just what I've found to be the most useful. When you snap the keyboard back on, it goes back to desktop. You can see all your icons and everything there. The actual back, and the multitasking button is still there. But what you'll find is, because it's such a high resolution screen, everything is fiddly. You can tap things with the pen, like the recycle bin up there. You can drive it with the pen, but irritatingly, you can't scroll with the pen. So let's just open the browser. Scrolling up and down. Now I'm used to having a Galaxy Note, so I want to do this. Can't do it. Can't scroll with pen. really annoying. So if you've got sticky fingers or whatever, you're going to have to use them, and then you can highlight text and stuff and click links and all that. Never felt more isolated after making billions. Wow, that's interesting. So yeah, if you are gonna, point I was making is if you're gonna sit public transport on a plane or whatever, you're better off just snapping the keyboard off. You don't have to have it to hide all the icons and switch to tablet mode. On the side here, under the options, you see tablet mode is there. You can tap that anytime, turn it into tablet mode. There's a setting that when you very first connect the keyboard to disconnect, it says, "Oh, do you want to switch to tablet mode?" And always remember this. You can configure all that, but it's definitely worth doing. Even if you hate the thought of live tiles and all that side of things, it's worth doing it. Now, as you can see now, when you click this little button, you get the live tiles in the side here. You can get rid of those. In fact, on my desktop Windows 10, I actually do. Can you do it with this? No, you have to delete all the tiles first. But because this one's kind of finger friendly, so to speak, it's worth leaving them on for me here. So when you disconnect the keyboard, you've got tablet mode, and it's actually worth dealing with. Again, you can go straight into desktop. You don't need to keep all this stuff open, but I just think it's worth having it on here if you're going to be playing with it. So that's that really. I mean, just from a hands-on perspective of just like tablet versus computer versus laptop, yeah, it's awkward to use at first, but once you've actually sat with it on your knee and you're using the pen and you're taking notes and all that kind of thing, it's really enjoyable. I actually very much enjoy doing it. With the browse inside of it, which is probably what you're going to be doing with it on your knee, this is the Edge browser that comes with it. Use it. I know you might be like everyone else in the world that uses Chrome, like me, which is great, but if you use Chrome on this, the fans will fire up and it will take off on your knee and it will fly to the ceiling and get red hot. I thought there was something wrong with it, and I googled and looked everywhere, and everyone was like, well, Chrome's not really optimized. It takes about 5 times more resources. If you run a YouTube video on here versus Chrome, or even if you just open Chrome and browse Twitter or something, it goes mad. It fires up and goes nuts at you. So you're gonna have to get into the habit of using this browser instead. Now, the way I see it is, yes, I like to use Chrome and have everything signed in across the board. I really like everything talking together. I like the Chrome browser. It's very sort of minimalistic. But the way I see it is, if you're just gonna want to browse, a browser's a browser on a tablet at the end of the day. Yes, it's a full computer. It should be capable of running Chrome. It does run Chrome, but it just goes mad with the fan and stuff. So I think it's worth sticking to this particular browser instead. I'm sure they'll optimize Chrome in time, but you know, normally running it on a desktop, you don't realize that it's actually taking quite a lot of power. But just day-to-day browsing and using this Edge browser, it's quite nice. There's no real problem with it. Again, if you're going to be sat on your knee, I'm at an awkward angle here, tapping things to type is a bit awkward. But you get used to it. You do get used to it. It's not optimized for your fingers. This ultra high resolution screen is just, you just fumble. And what keeps entering your head is it's not an iPad. You know, it's not a tablet in the sense of it has infinite battery and you can just fly through things. If you just tap a text field in tablet mode, the keyboard comes up. If you're not actually in tablet mode, it doesn't happen. You presume that, oh, I'm typing in a text field here, so I need it to actually come up and preempt that. So if I'm not in tablet mode, so I'll switch tablet mode off and tap in here, it doesn't know that I want to type. I have to call the keyboard up. A little bit annoying. Before I actually discovered that it should really be in tablet mode, that was a problem. When you're in tablet mode and you tap a field, the keyboard comes up. That's a bit of a godsend, really. Having the hardwired keyboard connected to it really does change it, because it's got the mouse or the trackpad, which is really nice, quite sensitive. You've got your right click. It's really easy to navigate with. I mean, I can use a trackpad. I know some people can't. I know a lot of people really struggle and just want a mouse. Yes, you can USB a mouse into it, but if you can use a trackpad, like most people tend to be able to these day and age, you can manage perfectly well. If there's something you can't select, you can still touch it. You know, it lets you do that. It's a touch screen at the end of the day. But yeah, it really does transform it. And the keys for typing on as well. It is backlit, but they've got a really nice feel to them. So let's have a look. Quite clunky, quite noisy, but I don't mind that. You also have this other option for connecting the magnet to the bottom of the screen to sort of elevate the keyboard. I don't like that, and I've never liked typing uphill, so I keep it flat. But it's nice to know you have the option, and it does give it a bit more sturdiness when you connect it up there, so that you can type uphill like some people like to do. So, still getting to grips with it. It is an initial sort of impression of it. Battery life, now that I've got rid of Chrome, is actually pretty good. At first, it was chewing through it because that fan was blowing like mad. But having the desktop apps, just like Word and Excel and all the Office things on there, and thinking, oh, I want to run this or run that and the other, you can just put it on. Now, I'm sure things like Photoshop or video editing software is going to struggle on it, because it is a mobile device at the end of the day. But if you're going to do that, I wouldn't have thought you would use this. I'm not really sure what you would use it for. The convenience of travelling and transport, it's got this tablet mode. And when you're in the tablet mode and you're on the desktop, let me just go back to that again. Here, there is an app store, as you're obviously aware. If I just find the shortcut to it. Store, that's it. So there is like the touch enabled just games and just apps and stuff, but it's sparse, there's not much in there at all. So just using it as a tablet, it's overkill. If you just want to do tablet-y things like take a couple of notes or play some games, then stick with the iPad. The tablet side of it, or the apps side of it, it's not that great. It runs them fine, you know, they're obviously optimized for it, but there's just not that many. It just feels properly sparse. So this side of the Windows here, I will literally just be launching my email, launching the desktop, launching my images, something like that. Or pretty much just running it not in tablet mode with the keyboard connected. But I'm getting to grips with the way you drive it, and you drag it. If you drag a full screen app down off the screen, it will close it. Still got quite a lot to learn, but this has been charging up for the last I don't know really. I put it on charge this morning. It's at 88% now. It says 3 hours 47 minutes remaining, which is probably pretty accurate. I know in a laptop it normally says, oh, you've got 5 hours, and then 10 seconds later it says connect the power. So it does handle the power quite well. But when I've learned it a little bit more, I'll come back to you with the proper pros, the proper cons. It's still a bit of a learning curve for Windows 10 and for the Surface itself at the minute, but I have got a proper list of what I do like and what I don't like. This is just another sort of semi-initial impression with a couple of things that you probably don't know. Like if you are going to get one, you'll struggle to use it unless you're on a desk, or unless you want to be really fiddly as a tablet, or you want to use a sparse set of tablet-y sort of applications. It's going to cost you a lot of money, and if you do like to use the Chrome ecosystem, Chrome apps, Chrome browser, it doesn't like it. It really doesn't like it. So that's it for now. Just wanted to touch base, because if I don't speak to you today, it might not be for a while, because I'm going away on holiday very soon. So that's it for now. If you've got any questions, or you want to see something specific, or you want to see it pitted against anything on the Mac, which is sat behind it, you can just see the edge of it, let me know, and I will get back onto the mobile stuff soon. I'm just going to get this holiday out of the way, and I've got my eye on a couple of phones, because that's where the really interesting stuff is. I'm aware of that. But as for this, I'll leave it here. Take care now. Bye bye then.